6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and My Eyes for this sort of late produced show, all about the latest news. Dan Ashworth, Callum Wilson injured again, Emil Krafth signing a new contract. We're going to discuss it all. It's very, very interesting. Don't know what we're going to do, to be honest with you. But Chez says, hi all, please keep comments respectful. No caps, duplicate, super chats are available to donate. Join for 99p if you want to. Got some amazing prizes to give away. We've got £140 a month to give away. Next giveaway is a week on Tuesday, I think. Even all from Leslie. Hey Baz, hope you're well. I am. Chaz, thank you very much for asking. Yeah, it's been a bit fun recently. Let's get through the stuff that we hate doing, but we have to do it. Subscribe if you enjoyed the channel. Hit the thumbs up, please. Thumbs up is massive. Diecro, an amazing sponsor. $40 a month they give away, so you can buy some stuff off them if you win, but you have to be a member. But if you're not a member, 20% off for everything. Football prizes, another amazing sponsor we got. They give £100 away. They could have given it to me, but I said, nope, I'll have it as credit on their site to try and get people to win some of their amazing prizes. And this is what they've got at the moment. You can buy tickets. It'll be drawn on Wednesday. It shuts on Tuesday. A Gaza signed shirt. And there's 19 other prizes to win as well, which is absolutely amazing. We've done a thing. Hopefully, Diacro will have these to sell soon. Probably won't have the support free speech on the back. That's a Pacific one for me and Lindsay. But the front, hopefully, will be available soon. I might get a number 9 or a number 8 on the back or something like that. Or you can choose your number, maybe. That could be something we could do in the future. Let's bring Gaz in. It's been a while, Gaz. How are you?
Bit chaotic, but...
Everything's chaotic at the moment, isn't it?
Having 2 kids, a wife who works a lot, and a puppy is hard friggin' work.
Don't know why you got a puppy. Don't know why you got a puppy, mate.
Well, it wasn't my idea. But the wife's out there now, and I thought, you know what am I going to do? Just like, I'm going to have to give it a go. Kids are upstairs, puppy's right next to us. Deal with it, you know what? Just get off. But made a few changes, so hopefully I can get on more shows. I.e., wife's looking to get a car, so that's going to make everything 10 times easier.
Make your kids walk to school. Make your kids walk to school.
It's not that.
You have to pick her up. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I've got to pick her up. It's that's the problem. And when you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning, when you get up at 5:30 in the morning, it's just chaotic and stuff. But I mean, it's not just the only reason. I mean, being a little bit Newcastle haven't helped with their performances at times, but being a little bit disillusioned with football at the minute, i.e. the blue card, VAR, refs. Oh. It's just FFP, it's just getting on my nerves the whole lot. It's
the blue card, I haven't got a clue what all that's about, to be fair. But I don't think that'll go through. Do we get a quick look at the puppy, Gary? Oh, flat out. You'll start dreaming soon and running like
that. He's called Bruno.
Bruno. Oh, we better not shout it. He might actually hear it.
Probably, but he's asleep at the minute because he's been on a landmark. So he's a pain in the arse, but he's kind of.
Exactly. Right, it was Valentine's Day yesterday, so the best comedy was out for everyone to watch. If you are dating a Mackem, don't forget to wrap it up, because you do not want to be getting that impregnated. It's as simple as that. So be careful, guys. If a woman asks you to watch this, you must do this. A bit of fun to start with. We can get away with stuff like that. That's quite a big puppy. It is, to be fair. Had a little while
only
now,
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah, funny. And you know what is? I'll never forget the day we got him, because we got him on Derby Day. We picked him up after the Sunderland match, so I'll always know when I got him.
Good luck.
Yeah, he's big for 4 months. Like, he is. I mean, the missus thought she was getting a little dog, and he clearly isn't. So
Where's Bruno? He's got to be massive, hasn't he?
Oh, he's hyper like this, Bruno. So
I love it. What do you make of this news? I'm actually very happy about them extending this 1-year contract personally, for 2 reasons. One, I actually think he's really improved under Eddie Howe. Second of all, if someone's interested in him, they've got to pay for
him. 2 years ago, I would have got rid of him in a heartbeat, because I thought he was useless. Then Eddie Howe got a hold of him, made him a bit better. I'm happy. I think it's a good move. He's a good squad player. I did say that this is the level. I wouldn't go below him, though. I.e. Richie Dummett. I wouldn't go any lower than this. This is a contract for what, a year is it or something?
It's basically extending a year. Yeah. Well, we took up the option to do the extension for a year. We didn't have to, but this could be the reason why Lascelles is maybe on his way out, because he's not signing his contract. So they're wrapping Krafth up to cover for right centre back and right back. So it's a smart idea. Yeah,
I haven't got a problem with it. I mean, I get why people have got a bit of an issue with it, but I'm not. I think he's a decent player anyway, and he has had some decent performances this season. He was great at Man United in the Cup.
Yeah,
and he had a really good game. Obviously he got that unlucky injury at Chelsea, where that bloke took him out. But
two of them.
Yeah, it was that. But look, I get why people are a bit thingy about it, but
are these the Football Manager fans, though? Are these the Football Manager fans who think we could just go out and buy 6, 7, 8 players in the summer?
Probably. I mean, Rome wasn't built overnight, you know what I mean? So it's like you've got to have squad. What we need squad players who, if we have an injury crisis, can come and do a job. He can do a job. Lascelles can do a job. They're not first teamers. They're not superstars. They're not this. They're not Brunos. They're not Isaks. But they are somebody who can come in, play, I don't know, Peterborough away in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Yeah. That is the type of player we need. What we don't need is players that we bring on who are just absolutely flaming useless and who are finished and stuff like that. And he isn't one of those players. So
I mean, even Dummett's finished it. He still had a decent game when he played against Man United, didn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a funny one because, I mean, home to Man City as well. I remember I'd never thought in a million years that would be our lineup. I never would have guessed. And Dummett, I remember Krafth, Dummett, they had good games at Old Trafford against Man City as well. And it's bizarre. It really is bizarre. But I mean, somebody said to me the other day, would you get rid of Matt Target and Neil Krafth? And I said I would keep Krafth every day that we can get rid of Matt Target. So,
the wages he's on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I find it
£80 a week.
100.
Oh.
I mean, how
he's hardly played a game.
I mean, how his agent must be like the best agent in world football to get him £100 a week. I thought he was possibly. I thought he had played well in the loan stint forward, but he definitely still wasn't £100 a week signing. And I remember the Target deal. It took ages to happen, and it should have been an easy deal. And I'm thinking, were they really wanting him in the first place? But it's one of those, isn't it? He's suffering injuries.
They were probably thinking £100. That's a bit much, and then they were thinking, well, we don't have another left back. We had Lewis. Or Dummett. Dan Burn obviously fits into that category. Obviously, he's played a lot at left back. They didn't want him to play at left back. They wanted him for cover for centre back. So they're probably thinking, well, his missus wasn't too keen on the move, was she? So they've had to splash out to make him move, really, haven't they? And at the time, when you think of when he came, we were desperate for bodies, weren't we? So they've probably thought, this is twist or bust, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I mean, I think he would be a player that we could get rid of. I think
definitely.
there would be some takers in the Premier League, i.e. people like Fulham, Bournemouth, that type. But
well,
they're not
Fulham
going to give
needs
him
to replace their
£100
left back, mightn't they? Because Robinson could
Yeah,
be on his way.
Robinson.
And I would like him.
Oh, he's a good player, Robinson. I think that's probably a deal we should have maybe tried to do 2 years ago when the takeover first happened. It was, but it is what it is. We didn't. Clearly went for different. I mean, I know it's a different
Cost a lot of money
subject,
now,
but
won't he?
yeah, I mean, well, to be honest, I was looking at. So I know this is different, like years ago, but I was looking at people like Wayne Rooney, Shearer, people like that who went for fees that are 10 times less than what Lewis Hall is costing, and what it's ridiculous now. I mean, I'm not calling Lewis Hall a bad player. I actually think he is a good footballer, but the fees you're having to play for average players these days is just nonsense. It's ridiculous. And I mean, how much you're talking about a left back here with potential. 30 odd million he's going to cost.
Well, that's if we still sign him. We don't know yet, do we?
Nah, no idea.
I
think it all depends on what happens with Lewis Hall. I cannot see we're signing Robinson and having Lewis Hall as well. I think they'll, if Lewis Hall is what they say he is and they're going to buy him in the summer, I cannot see Robinson coming.
Oh, no, I don't think he will. But again, we don't know whether we're going to be keeping a hold of him or not. So
no idea at the moment.
It is going to be interesting, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I'm expecting a big summer. Purely based on the fact that I think now is maybe, I keep hearing this is like phase 2 of the project, where basically now they're going to jump to the next level, i.e. they're going to get rid of a lot of the players who are at the bottom.
Fraser,
Richie, Gillespie, people like that.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to obviously improve the first team. But I think you might see a lot of players come in who, like I said, are better than these, but on maybe young talent, but not young talent for the youth team, young talent that you know about, i.e. Lewis Hall, for example. But I think I'm expecting a bit
City as well to come through. You got Matete to come back as well, who started tonight.
Yeah,
Cahool doesn't look like he's going to make it, but if we can get him to a standard where we can sell him, we can make money on him potentially.
I mean, there's rumours of Chris Rigg. Now that, it's a no-brainer, that one.
Exactly. Well, it's another local lad, isn't it? And he'll be classed as homegrown.
Yeah, 100, and he is a good player now. It's so that would be a good signing, but I'm not on the thing of, I think it's time now Newcastle need to make major movements in the transfer window, because we've only been 1 or 2 years since the takeover happened, or 3 years, whatever it is. But I think it's come to the stage now to appease the Brunos, the Botmans, the Isaacs, Joe Lintons. They need to see a bit of ambition, and I think who them type of players will be, I don't know, but I still think.
I think after last season, you have to go biggish this summer.
Yeah, I agree.
And I reckon we've got, because we haven't bought anyone in January, we've saved money there. We're going to get the sponsorship money in the summer. You're going to get other sponsorship money in the summer as well, not just Adidas. There's other things in the background. You're going to get these wages off the bill. Hopefully, Fraser at Southampton, there's a bit of money comes in there. Then you've got to look at signing at least 4 to 5 quality players in my eyes, if you want to go for top 4 again, like we did the season before. All depends if we get Europe. If we don't get Europe, I think we should be challenging top 4. If we get Europe, you're going to start talking about challenging top 6 and having a good run in either, the Europa Conference or the Europa League and the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, because you'll have lots of different competitions. So it depends where we finish to what we will be challenging for next season. But we've got to be thinking 4 minimum, haven't we, really?
Oh, without hope. I've said it since the takeover happened that, I mean, at some point, right, I know Eddie Howe likes a certain type of footballer, right, but I stand by this. At some point, if that club wants to be taken seriously, they have got to buy a star. Now, and I'm on about a name who is going to get the rest of the Europe going. Oh, you know what I mean?
I don't think it'll
It's
be
like,
this summer, though.
no, neither do I. That's the
I
problem.
think it'll be Barnes-like signings again.
Yeah, so do
Barnes,
I.
Gordon, you'll be spending between 50, 60 million maybe on each on 4 players.
Yeah.
But you can still get quality for that. It's just getting the right quality. Sesko, maybe? He'll cost what, 60, 70?
Hasn't he got a release clause up?
I don't know.
Don't know. I mean, see, I think he is going to be a good player. And I would definitely sign him tomorrow. But I'll use an example, right? This is an example of something. I've never watched American football in my life. I don't get the rules. I don't get the game. But I watched the Super Bowl the other day, and the reason I watched the Super Bowl was because exactly. The reason I watched it was because there's a guy in it called Patrick Mahomes who plays for the Chiefs, and I watched him on Netflix because he's one of the superstars of American football. I watched it because of that reason. And this is what superstars in the sport do. They attract a new global audience. That's what they... Yeah. I've got no idea about it. They were throwing an egg. That's what I was watching. But it attracts new people. And this is what a star name will do. It'll attract.
That's what Bruno should be, though. For me, Bruno should be that name that attracts. Yeah. He's got that lovable character about him as well. If that's true, 53 million euro release clause for Sesko, then it's a no-brainer for me.
100%.
He's definitely someone we should be targeting. Do we know how much the Adidas deal is? It's between 40 and 60 million, as far as we're aware. Gary, you already know that. I think it was 40 million a season, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Season. A year, sorry, 40 million a year.
I know this.
Depending on where we finish European players and all that stuff.
I mean, I know this is a different subject, but I've got a feeling these type of values could be changing in the near future because...
Well, it will depend on where we finish in the league, because if you don't finish in Europe, Adidas might have a clause that says, right, we're dropping you down a little bit, you know. But Adidas would not make us part of their elite squad of teams if they didn't believe in our project. That's the thing that keeps me going. Our owners have obviously sold Newcastle to Adidas again. And Adidas have looked at the project and went, we want that. We want to be part of that. Well, and we're going to make you an elite section of our, of our portfolio because we believe in your project. So if they believe in it, all our fans should just sit back and go, Adidas wouldn't do that unless there was an actual real reason they're going to make a lot of money out of us and we're going places. Well,
I went to Newcastle store the other day because the Ben wanted a bed quilt and stuff, Newcastle bed quilt, and we went to the Black Page shop. Exactly. We went to the Black Page shop. We went to the Black Page shop, however, I think it's called, and they said they don't sell them because Castori don't allow them to sell them. Only Castori can sell them in their shops. And I went, well, that's pretty stupid. And we went to Newcastle shop, and they told me exactly the same, that they had them, but they were selling them off for cheap because Adidas were taking over. They told me that, and the Black Page told me as well, that Adidas have made so much merchandise now that it's coming soon. And all of these shops are getting everything, whereas Castori are only allowing certain merchandise to go to their shops because they're absolute crap. How much money are we missing out on because of these numpties? And the sooner they go, the better.
It depends on the percentage, doesn't it? Because we don't know what we're actually making off strips. Because obviously Ashley made that deal with Castori. We could just be making 1% or 5%. We actually don't know, do we? That's the problem. No. But I think with Adidas, we will have a decent wedge of it. But again, Adidas will make more of it. I agree, Baz. Adidas know the sales will be sky high with Newcastle. Exactly.
I'll tell you
Adidas kids go branding. Yes, they do, don't they? I'm sure they do.
Yes.
Yeah. Go on.
I was going to say before when you were mentioning about enticing people to the project still. Not only was Adidas a big one, it's the amount of youngsters who are coming for me. They're all enticed by something. Whether it's Harrison, Senate, Mentor, people like that, they're all see something. Whoever's speaking to them is telling them a project, this, that, that. I mean, I tell you what,
we're going to come on to maybe the reason why, but we'll park that there, because I just want to quickly say thanks to Fergus, who has sent me a Newcastle. I haven't opened it because I want to leave it like that, so I don't want to damage it, but it's going to be part of the raffle. I just want to say thanks to him for doing that, because that's absolutely amazing. I've got all this to go into the raffle so far. I am looking for more donations. All of that's my own pocket. So the more we can get, the better, because we want to raise a lot of money for charity. And I want to try and get a certain person on this channel for doing it, because it'll be for his charity. So fingers crossed. Right, let's move on to the next little bit of news. It's Callum Wilson again. So Callum Wilson have already missed 73 games due to injury since joining Newcastle in 2020. That's a staggering 41% of matches. Assuming he doesn't play another game this season, that could raise to a minimum of 48%. Nearly half of the games available since signing him. Not only that, this is what seems to happen. Wilson gets injured. Isak is our only striker. Wilson comes back to full fitness. Isak gets injured and Wilson's our only striker. And then Wilson gets injured again and Isak's back to full strength. It is literally a horrible, horrible circle of life at the moment as a Newcastle striker, isn't it? We've got two strikers and they never fit together. I can't even remember the last time they were actually on the pitch together.
Tell you what, mate. Do you know what it is? I love Callum. He's been through some bad times. I would definitely class him up there as one of the best I've seen strikers wise. But my God, is it time to go? My God, is it time to go? And that circle couldn't sum it up anymore. It's because of Callum Wilson why that keeps happening. Because Isak is being rushed back.
Well, it's that and only having two strikers, isn't it? If we had three, we 100%. Probably wouldn't see that circle.
No, but if you have two strikers, you need somebody who's more reliable than Callum Wilson. Now, I know Isak's having injury problems, but he's having injury problems because the bloke who's meant to come in and help him a bit is constantly on the sick. Now, when we didn't sell Wilson in January, I was sitting there and I thought to myself, you know what it is? I'll give him 2 games and he's out again. And
it was 2 games, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was literally 2. But this time, he's the only bloke in the world who I now can get injuries tit. And I just do you know, I love the guy. I really do. But you can't keep Callum Wilson. If you want to get, it's not even next level. If you're fighting relegation, you can't keep Callum Wilson. He's done. He's absolutely done. If I could give him any advice now, go abroad.
Yeah.
Go to Saudi.
Yeah, the warm weather could keep him fit longer, potentially.
Yeah, 100. He can't do the Premier League anymore. And he's been a great player forward, but it's time to go next.
It's been 4 years and he's only played half of the games available. You can't expect that as your number 9. You know, you need to play the games like Alan Shearer. You need to play almost full seasons. Yes, Shearer had his 2 knee injuries, but he was available most of the time without those injuries, wasn't he? And he was banging in the goals left, right, and centre.
Well, I mean, I'll use Botman as an example of it. Botman missed a lot of games this season, but it was because he picked an injury up, like a specific injury, right? This man picks up muscle injuries, hamstring injuries, injury, that injury, and it's all the frigging time. Every player gets injured, I understand that, but he's only played nearly half the games for us since he's been here. I mean, that must be, I'd love to know how many games Michael Owen and Kieran Dyer played, percentage-wise, to see if they are better than what he was, because they were 2 of the most injury-prone I've seen. And
well, Michael Owen, when he first came, that 6-month spell, when he came, he was fantastic. And then he injured his knee on England duty, and then he rushed himself back and got injured again for England duty. So he was just selfish. He wasn't a club man, was he? He was an international man after leaving Real Madrid because he didn't want to sign for us. No. Kieran Dyer was just, oh God, he was just hell of a sick note, wasn't he? He was almost as bad as Marcelino.
Yeah, well, I mean, regarding Kieran Dyer, I know it's like years ago past stuff this, but it was the medical team that didn't pick Dyer's problem up, and then he went to see some guy in London who figured out that he had this problem with the back of his hamstring. He gave him the injections, and then Kieran Dyer played 40 games that season. And it's like
shin splints.
Yeah, but the problem with Callum Wilson is he plays 2 games and then he's out for 4, or he's out for 3. This time he's out for the rest of the season. I mean, it's like,
we think he is. We don't officially know yet, do we? If he's out for the full season,
he will be out for the season.
There's a very good chance he'll be out for the full season. And it's very rare a player does his pecking. To be fair, it's a bit weird.
If we want to get, I said it the other day. You know what it is? He probably gets injured shagging the missus. Honestly, he probably does. And I can't deal with him anymore. If we want to get the best out of Isak, we need somebody like Sesko who can come in and give Isak a break. If we want to see the best of Isak, because we're going to rush Isak back again because of Callum Wilson being out for the rest of the season. And I wouldn't do it. I would trust. I think we'll be fine with Gordon up front and give Isak time to get back. And I've seen it a few times. I thought at Forest, Wilson was one of the worst players on the pitch, and when Gordon's movement was causing a few problems for them, and I thought, just switch to get him off and put him up front.
Well, there was 2 of them, wasn't there, for the Forest game? There was Miggy and Wilson.
Yeah.
I thought they both had poor games, but then yet Dan Burns, the one who got slated. All because he got skinned twice for pace. But other than that, he actually had a very good game.
Well, I'm not like a massive, huge Dan Burn fan, but like what he gets is ridiculous. I mean, at Forest, Miggy and, like you said, Miggy and Wilson were the worst players on the pitch for us by a cunt. That was probably Miggy's worst game. That was Miggy's worst game. And I remember when he came off the pitch, and you could tell he knew he'd been crap because he just looked. It's the first time I haven't saw him smile, and I think he knew he was shite that day. Look, I mean, if somebody asked me about Dan Burn like a week ago, I'm not Dan Burn's biggest fan, but he's certainly not a crap footballer. I've heard he's the worst player we've ever. Absolutely. I tell you what, go and watch Marcelino and Marcelino on knackers like that, and then you'll know what crap is. But I don't know. I keep hearing that Dan Burn needs help in front of him and stuff like that, and maybe he does.
So does Trippier at times.
Yeah,
because Trippier hasn't got the pace all the time. He needs help from Miggy, but that's how you defend as a team.
Yeah.
It baffles me that everyone thinks that Dan Burn can just handle everything on his own. When you go back and watch last season, why we had the best defence in the league was because Joe Linton and Willock had the pace to get back and help Dan Burn out, and that's how we had a solid team. And I think everyone's like, oh, well, Dan Burn's crap. He's not crap. He's just got screwed twice.
I think the problem with Dan Burn is, I think the major problem with Burn is he's getting stick because Eddie spent £60 million on 2 players that were stuck on the bench, and I think that's putting pressure on Burn because that's what they're looking at. And
potentially, but Tino is a right back, and yes, he has done well at left back. But remember, he is a right back, and then there's the Lewis Hall situation, which I think Lewis Hall, we didn't want to buy him in the winter. I think we wanted to buy him in the summer. Yeah, and Eddie Howe doesn't think he's ready yet. So yeah, Lewis Hall.
Lewis Hall. I mean, that could be the case. Lewis Hall's a strange one for me, but from what I've seen,
it's only a strange one because of all the injuries we've got. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
If we didn't have all the injuries we had, no one would be talking about Lewis Hall. They'd be all like, oh yeah, he's one for the future. So,
yeah, it's just he wasn't getting in an injury crisis. And look, I've thought about Tino. Look, I think Tino Livramento was absolutely fantastic. I think he's an incredible footballer, and he's going to be our fullback for the next 10 years. But I've realised Eddie wants him to play right back.
Yeah,
I think it's blatantly obvious, and I think people need to get used to Dan Burn for the rest of the season. And I think Tino, I've got
Tino's
a feeling
a good option for the bench as well, though, because if you start Tino and then it goes wrong, how you don't bring Dan Burn on, do you, to change things?
No, I mean,
you bring Tino on to change things.
I mean, look, Tino, I'll stand by it. I think Tino should be starting for me, but I'm not Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe will have his reasons. But Lewis Hall, no idea on that one. Like you said, you could have come up with it why he's not playing, but it's a weird one for me.
It is.
And it's
Let's get this
especially
one
during an
answered.
injury crisis.
This is the one for me. This question here: keep Wilson as a third choice striker, otherwise we'll have to buy 2 strikers. Yes, on paper, and us as fans see that as a very good option. But if Eddie Howe sits Callum Wilson down and says you're going to be a third choice striker, is he going to want to stay? And Gary asked the question: would he accept third choice? I don't think he will. Not at this stage of his career. I think the third choice striker would be a young player coming through.
You know what is? I think Eddie will look at it this way, and he said it in his interview numerous times. I think Wilson will be away in the summer. I think they'll buy a striker, and I think Eddie will come out and say, "I've got Gordon who can play for him."
Yeah, so there's the option.
That's what I think he's going to say, and I think Wilson will 1,000,000% be away in the summer. I think somebody will buy him because he is still
scores goals.
A goal scorer.
Without a doubt, he's a goal scorer, but it's keeping him fit.
Yeah.
He might go to a club that maybe sees him as a second choice in, like say, Saudi Arabia or Spain or somewhere, because he has options. I just think the physicality of the Premier League is killing him now.
Oh,
we'll see.
Yeah, he's struggling from it. I mean, the other day at Forest, when he picked that injury up from wrestling with somebody.
Yeah, he was like wrestling with two centre backs, wasn't he? And he's picked up the injury. So I mean, he didn't have to wrestle with him, did he?
No, but I still don't know why Eddie kept him on as long as he did.
He had no more subs, I don't think. I think that's why.
Did he not?
I think it was right at the end of the game as well, to be honest with you. He put his arm in the sling and he said, I don't want the ball. I don't want the ball. Keep it away from me.
I just, I don't think we handle Wilson very well. I know his injuries are a problem. I'm not saying that. But every time we bring him back, we seem to play him nearly a full game. And
I think we want to, but I think we've had to, haven't we? That's the problem. But he came on for a half, didn't he? And changed the game. And then he was starting the next week. Our owners have been having a bit of a laugh at the situation. Thank you for all the birthday messages. Another year older, happy and wiser. So happy birthday, my dad. And Jamie Rubin says, happy 60th young man. Can you play up front? Now, it is a little bit funny, but surely these owners have got to be thinking, Jesus, how have we left the club in this position again? I mean,
yeah.
I do like a little joke and all that sort of stuff, but sometimes it's a bit close to the bone.
Yeah, well, you got to look at it this way. They don't seem concerned about it, do they? If they're joking on. But I think I've said this a few times now. I thought it was like not strange, but I noticed that Staveley sold some of our shares to the Rubens.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, and 7% she's got left.
Yeah. Now I had a feeling this was going to happen at the start of the takeover. At some point, Staveley was probably going to be at the club, but didn't own any of it because I think eventually PIF are going to buy the whole lot. And I think it's some. You know what?
Rubens will sell if the Rubens are buying it. They might end up with 20% and they've still have 80% potentially.
I think the problem is from I've just gotten off what somebody told me that if just say we buy a player for £50 million, Staveley and a company have to put a percentage of that in because they own a percentage of the company or something. Now maybe it's getting to the stage now where they just can't afford to do that. So again, the Rubens can, we know that, because I mean, if you put the Rubens in charge of a football club, they're probably going to be the third richest owners in the flaming league. So they've got money. But
I think Staveley got the 10% because of the work she did, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the takeover doesn't happen without Amanda Staveley. It's plain and simple. But I've always thought that Staveley was going to be involved in the club, but she wasn't going to own any of it. She was probably going to be hired and to represent the club by PI. I think I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in the background on Newcastle, but I think Pip have been very quiet when it comes to being involved with Newcastle. I think maybe this summer we might see them involved more, because it always seems to be the Rubens and Mirdad and Stavely and Eels all doing the business. And Pip just seem to be the people who put the money in. Maybe if I'm going to get more involved in this. And
potentially.
Because I always keep hearing that when the chairman comes, things happen. And nothing gets signed off without the chairman. So I think it'd be nice to see Piff a bit more involved, I think, in the summer.
I agree with that. Right, we'll move on to this again very quickly. Hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the show. Hit the thumbs up. It really helps. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diet Crow. 20% off for everybody who watches the show. And it's got some great stuff. There's more than just T-shirts. They do bedding and all that sort of stuff, and kids stuff as well. And don't forget about Football Prizes, who have got an absolute unbelievable raffle going on at the moment. A chance to win a Gascoigne signed shirt. There's not many of them around these days. And there's 19 other potential prizes to win. Lots of other signed shirts there, which you can get your hands on. So consider buying some tickets. All the links are in the description below. And if anyone wants to donate anything to the raffle that I'm going to be doing, this is all my stuff. I've had some great donations from 2 people. More coming, one from Amy as well, which I'm looking forward to getting a hold of. So please consider it. And we did a thing where I'm going to be wearing this tomorrow night for the show. Hopefully we'll be selling these in the future. Not for me, just Diet Crow. They'll be getting all the money because they're the ones making them and designed the logo for us. So I hope you like the new logo, by the way. Right, on to the main event. Mr. Ashworth. What is going on? So the way I read it at the moment is he's talked to Man United. He's initially accepted that he will move to Man United. It was all moving very fast. But if they pay the release clause of 20 or 21 million, which is a lot of money, by the way, when you think about it, because that is like selling a Lascelles or selling Kieran Trippier and making that money, which I think is amazing, because that's just free money in a way. And then we can get another director of football or whatever position he holds. But Man United don't want to. That release clause puts him on garden leave until 2025. Mm-hmm. And Man United don't want that to happen. So they've been negotiating with us, but then we're in a position where we want more money. If you want him straight away to jump into work and knowing that he's got all this stuff on Newcastle and players and all this sort of stuff, you're going to have to pay top dollar to get this guy out of our club and into your club without gardening leave. Now, from what I've heard, is Man United unhappy with that, with the amount they haven't been able to agree anything, and they're willing to hold off until 2025.
Oh, bless them. Bless them.
Shit, innit? It's tough shit. So apparently there was a tweet going around saying that he was going to be at the game. It's a different one. He's going to be at the game on Saturday. He's been held in meetings just like normal. So to me, it kind of went like, and then suddenly it's just coming down. And it's just all that hype is disappearing now. And I think he's still going to be at the club. First of all, are you happy with him potentially staying, or do you still see him going? Do you think there'll be a deal broke or not?
I've been following football for 30 years, and when something comes out like this, it normally means somebody's leaked something very close to the deal. Now,
I was looking at this, wasn't it? He looked at it like 8:30, 9:30 at night. I can't stand him, but he's obviously heard something.
Yeah, something like somebody's told him, but very close to the deal. Not like Billy down the road, you know what I mean? It was just like somebody. He clearly wants to go, otherwise he would have just come out and said, I don't want to go. Now,
he's best friends with Jim Ratcliffe, isn't he? Or very good friends with him.
It's Ballasford, I think.
Right.
It's a funny one for me, because when he come in, I was expecting like different things to what's happened. And then I found out from Brighton fans that he is not a scout.
Well, we'll come to that.
All right, we'll come to that.
So first of all, just do you think the deal's going to go through? And if it doesn't go through, are you happy to stay in charge until the end of the season?
No, I didn't want him here. I'll tell you why I don't want him here, because I think he wants to go. And he doesn't seem to me like the most loyalist man in the world. He buggered off from Brighton the first chance he got. He left England. This is his third resignation. I want somebody in. Do you know what it is? He's got too much of a big role at the club where he knows contracts, player release clauses. I don't want somebody like that here who was too busy talking to Man United in the background.
Yeah.
Look, it could be all paper talk for what we know, that he's been doing this, that, and the other. He could have went to the club and went, I've been offered a contract at Man United. What do you think? It could be that. Right, there's no law. I mean, people have been saying it's tapping up. No, there's no law when it comes to they can do what they want, right? But
it's just like having your CV on Indeed, isn't it? And someone coming to you and saying, "We like your CV. Do you want to come to work for us instead?" Can't stop it.
Now, he's got too big a role for me to be comfortable. He's not a player. He's got too big a role for me to be comfortable that he's not gonna come out and spout some stuff in the background to his friends. And I'll tell you what, I'm all for asking Man United not pay up, because you know what it is, yous are part of the reason why the stories come out. So you want him, you pay the frigging money for him. You pissed us about with Jesse Lingard and a loan fee, right? A year ago. So I'm sorry, you want him, pay the flaming money. And you know what it is? They just think because the Manchester United didn't do what the friggin' want. And no, you can't. And what's happened is I think Ashworth thought, Newcastle will accept. Man United have thought, we'll get the deal done. And the owners have just went, no, pay the money. They've realised, oh shit. You know what it is? This isn't going as well. But I just found it bizarre how the one that came out was that he was going to be at the game at the weekend, and apparently he's been at work all week. He's been working all week. So that to me is a bizarre one. Have the papers possibly jumped on board again like they normally do? And look, it's the last thing we need. I'm not going to lie. We can't. If we keep that man, what's going to happen in the summer, right? Is he going to continue and then go to Man United eventually, right? If he's going to bugger off, he needs to go now, right? And do his gardening leave or anything like that, because it's not going to help us one bit. We need somebody else in who can do his job, right?
Toon Barmy says it perfectly. FFP scrapped his project here, adding years on. He can turn over Man United in about 3 years. If they ship out the high earners, their available cash will be for them above us 5 years at least. So yeah, I mean, it is true. Man United have got such a revenue that we don't have. It's easier for them to go out and spend money on big players than it is for Newcastle to go out and spend big players. So,
I mean, this is a different subject, but if rumours are true, then I think Premier League clubs have had a friggin' enough. Because Man United are currently over £1 billion in debt, but because they make a lot of money in, they can buy players. Now, teams are starting to come out again. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. And I think that there seems to me, like I've heard a few people saying, like people well known as well to this type of thing, that there might be something brewing regarding certain clubs and taking the Premier League here. And Man City seem to be leading the way. Now, that possibly could change, but I just think this, I mean, it's not, like it's partly due to Ashworth being here and the FFP crap and all that, but I just think it's an absolute farce that Man United can come out with their debt and just try to nab our director of football, and say you can spend more money here than you can there, and our owners are £800 billion richer than what their owners are. And it's just utterly ridiculous. And why? Because they've got a better sponsorship deal with like these people, and they're a global brand. It's just utter nonsense. It really is. And I mean, do you know what it is? I'll give Man United one thing, right? They've managed to get Aston Villa fans, Everton fans, feeling sorry for on friggin' Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know what it is? I've seen Everton fans coming out saying it's an absolute disgrace how they've got the richest owners in the world, and Man United, who are £1 billion debt, can come and nab the director of football just like that. And people are starting to cotton onto it now. It's starting to click in that. And I think this is what Newcastle's owners knew 2 years ago. I think they knew something was going to start cooking in a few years' time.
It's got to. I mean, Villa are rich. Sheffield United are technically rich. They've got very rich owners. West Ham have got a boatload of money. Brighton have got loads of money. They just can't use it because of FFP. There's Wolves, Forest. That manager, how much has that owner bought? And now he's in trouble. Chelsea have obviously spent a load of money. Now they need to sell 100 million worth of talent in the summer, potentially. There's so many clubs that are willing to put their own money in and lose it potentially, but yet the Premier League won't let them because it'll affect the top 6 if it works.
Well, what the Premier League aren't understanding is the top 6, certain teams, Man City with this FFP charge thing, Chelsea, right? If they don't change the rules, right, in 2 years' time, you can forget about the top 6 winning the Champions League because Real Madrid are going to dominate football. Because Mbappe is on the verge of going there as well. They are literally Endrick, Gula. They are literally buying the best talent in world football, Bellingham, you name it. And no team in the Premiership is going to be able to compete with them in 2 years unless they change this crap. And you know what it is? It's. And then
Real Madrid are meant to be under the same rules as UEFA as well, though. That's the thing. So how are they getting around it?
Oh, you tell me. I mean, Mbappe is apparently going to save PSG £200 million by leaving. £200 million. And we're getting told we can't buy Calvin Phillips on loan for £6 million. Seriously, I know this is jumping off the Ashworth subject, but it is practically linked to him and why he's possibly going to Man United.
Let's talk about Ashworth's role because that's important. Because there's a lot of Man United fans think out there, especially that idiot who runs the United stand, he thinks Ashworth signed all these players. He hasn't. Ashworth is the man who finalizes deals, talks to the families and the players once the targets have been identified via scouts. So the scouts do all the work. They go out and find the players. They then present them to Ashworth and say, right, we found this gem. You need to work on them and you need to go out and sign them, basically. But he's not a scout. He doesn't identify the players. Casado, Ferguson, McAllister, they were all found by the Brighton scouts. And then Ashworth is the one who brokers the deal. He's like he's kind of like the contract guru, isn't he? He knows how to talk to the families, how to reassure them, and talk to the player about the pathways. So the pathways from, being so if you sign someone like Rigg, who's 16, you'll say, right, you'll go into this bit, you'll then go into that bit. If you improve, you went into this bit. And by the end of it, by the time you hit 18, 19, the pathway is into the first team. And that's how he sells the project and how he gets players to sign contracts. That's his job, isn't it, basically? Yeah.
And I think the only transfer dealings he is involved in is possibly young youth teams. But he is not a frigging scout. And when you've got Sky Sports sitting there going, he brought Bruno to Newcastle, he wasn't even frigging here when Bruno come, you absolute numpties. Botman was scouted. He was on 6 months. He was on gardening leave.
Yeah, I mean, he might have had a say in it. You never know. But when you're on garden leave, if we admit that, you're admitting to actually breaking the rules.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's like Ashworth. I mean, Brighton fans have got involved big time here as well.
Of course, I was hoping to get Mike on the show tonight, but he's
I would be good.
Misses, unfortunately. I was hoping to get Alice on as well, the Man United fan, so she can tell us why they're so excited about getting Ashworth, which is not available, unfortunately. That's why we're just talking about it. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous what Sky Sports are saying. And do you know what it is? If this was, say, Bournemouth nicking Ashworth from Newcastle, they wouldn't even make the news. It's because it's Man United, and because it's Sky, and because it's the Big Six.
Well, because it's the Big Six, right? I remember when we signed Ashworth. Ashworth was a good director of football. He'll do a good job for you. When they get him, he's the best thing in the country,
sliced bread, yeah.
right? He discovered Messi and Ronaldo and you name it. I put something on yesterday. I put a DeLorean time machine on GIF on Twitter and said Ashworth's on his way to sign Bruno. And it's like, because the nonsense coming out. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad Brighton fans got involved as well and said he's got nothing to do with signing those players. It's not his freaking job. Yeah. Yes.
It could have been Nixon
Nixon's the scout.
For Bruno. And didn't he find Ben Arthur, or was that someone else?
Graham Carr, wasn't it?
Carr, who got
Carr.
Ben Arthur.
Carr, I tell you what, Carr was originally a scout, right? Oh, one of the best. Now, if Man United fans wanted to get excited about a scout, it would be Graham Carr, right? But Graham Carr, I think, originally was a scout, and then they brought him more into a role of like a director type thing in the end of his career. Now that's different, but Ashworth isn't involved in this stuff. Nixon's the freaking scout. And I'll tell you what,
scout. We've got a boatload of them everywhere.
And you've got, I think people underestimate as well how much say Eddie Howe has in transfers. Because he clearly has a massive say.
Out, isn't there, between him and Ashworth?
Yeah.
And that's another rumour why a lot of people aren't too fussed about him leaving. But I don't know if that's true. And, I find it very difficult if they had a problem, we would happily take the money off Man United very quickly and get rid of Ashworth if there was a problem. To me, us saying and digging our feet in, saying, you will give us more than the release clause if you want him now, or you give us the 20 million and you get him in 2025. They're happy to do that because there mustn't be any problems.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to look into more things that Ashworth has done since he's been here, he's failed to give Joe Linton a new contract. He's put a release clause in Bruno's contract. It's like
it's a big release clause, though. It's kind of a hands-off release clause unless you pay a lot of money.
I mean, I heard somebody say the other day that he signed Anthony Gordon. No, he friggin' didn't. Eddie Howe wanted Anthony Gordon. And it's like, do you know what it is?
Eddie Howe wanted Tonali as well, but then there's the rumours that both of them have been getting a bit of their arses kicked because of the Tonali deal.
Yeah. And you know what it is? I was laughing the other day. You know, they were going on about a director of football, and I was thinking more about the role. And can you imagine if you went to Alex Ferguson and said, we're going to bring a director of football and he's going to choose the players for you, Alex?
Well, football's changed a lot since him, hasn't it? I mean, he was old school, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Keegan was the same. Keegan made the decisions on who he brought in. And I think Eddie Howe has a big, massive say in who comes into that football club. Sometimes I'd probably say 90% of the time I agree with what Eddie Howe brings in. There's just a little bit of 10% that I see some links to certain players, and I think, look, Eddie can.
We don't know if that's
time
true.
To go.
No,
it could be. Thing. It could be bollocks. You just don't know.
It's just people making guesses sometimes, isn't it? Like billing. Mind you, the Kelly one, left back, is not bad. Robbie, good evening. I wonder if you're a happy man hearing about Ashworth potentially maybe moving to Man United. We still don't know yet. Inject our Bruno into Man United and it automatically steps up for a few levels. True. Bruno's going nowhere. He's going nowhere, I'm telling you. But yeah, I mean, the Ashworth one is a funny one for me. There's Edwards, isn't there, who we think we'll be going for afterwards. And there's a lot of people saying he's an upgrade.
Oh, look, I'm not just saying this. Michael Edwards was the guy I wanted originally when the takeover happened. The problem with Michael Edwards is he's got businesses that he's heavily involved in, I think. And that's why he left Liverpool, because he wanted just to concentrate on his business and family. If we managed to persuade Michael Edwards to come back into football when Chelsea, Liverpool and Man United failed a year ago, that will be one of the biggest coups. Honestly, that man is a genius when it comes to what he does, and he is 1,000,000% an improvement on Dan Ashworth. That, I mean, some of the stories I've heard of what I'll just see a few of them. He used to put bids in for players for Liverpool that they weren't interested in. We talked about this a lot, didn't we? Yeah, yeah. They weren't interested in them.
Yeah.
So it put the deal onto somebody else who they were interested in. He went and got them. He sold Philip Coutinho for 140 odd million and replaced him with Salah, Van Dijk, Henderson, people like that. Marnie. I think Firmino possibly.
Firmino as well, yeah, he would have been one of his signings.
What he got Solanke in on a free transfer and sold him for 20 odd million £. This man is this is why Klopp wanted him back a year ago.
Yeah.
Because I think Klopp
this is why Klopp's walked away from football, from Liverpool, because he knows he's not going to get the talent that he needs.
Yeah, possibly.
With FFP.
Look, Michael Edwards would be an I'll tell you what, I'll drive Dan Ashworth up to Man United if you're telling me Michael Edwards is coming through the door. But it'll be a long shot, mind, because like I said, I know he left football, but nah, that's my choice. It was my original choice, and do you know what it is when it comes to being a hard negotiator and sticking to not getting taken the piss out of regarding fees? There's no perfect man for this project than him. He's an absolute genius at doing what he does. And if you know what it is, if he went in for a bid with a player and they went 40 again, 28, and he would just walk away, and then you can guarantee they would come back in 2 days' time and go, we'll accept 30, and he would go, no, 28, and that's what he does. And he's that's who I would choose. And yeah, like I said, the one thing I will say is everything could be paper talk. Ashworth might have not wanted to leave, and he's never asked to leave.
If he's at the game on Saturday, that could be like a push to say he's going nowhere, couldn't it?
Yeah. It all depends if he's at the game on Saturday. But he's clearly been offered the position. That's blatantly obvious. And he's told Newcastle he's been offered the position. But then people like Luke Edwards have jumped on and said, he's leaving. Ornstein.
Well, Luke Edwards is the one who's kind of backtracked a little bit, and he's the one who's tweeted out saying that I don't know why, but Dan Ashworth is apparently going to be at the game on Saturday. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Well, it does make sense. It just means that you've got loads of clickbait messages out there saying he's 100% going when he might not be. He might have just went to Newcastle and said, look, Man United have offered me this. I'm considering it. But, then Newcastle could go back to Ashworth and say, well, how much money do you want? And we'll give you it and blow Man United off. We just don't know, do we?
Well, Ornstein's normally spot on, right? But I think he is a good, and I normally, when I see something from him, I normally think, right. But I think he got his info from Luke because he congratulated Luke on the exclusive. And the problem is believing Luke at times is like trusting a piranha fish with your finger. And it's like, Luke's very hit and miss. Yeah, Luke's very hit and miss when it comes to stories and exclusives. But we'll see what happens. But this can't drag on. He either goes on his garden leave, so wait and find somebody else. Because if you get to April and Man United are still, Man United were going to wait till 2025. What are you waiting until 2025 for? Oh, yeah, we're just going to...
Phil's just said Man United have the highest turnover in the league. They don't have to worry about dropping 20 million on Dan Ashworth. Phil, it won't be 20 million. It's only 20 million if they wait till 2025. Man United want him now. We are in a position where we can negotiate a higher fee. And the more we get, the less we have to sell a big star. That's what I'm thinking about. This is why I don't mind him actually going. If we can somehow squeeze 25, 30 million out of Man United, you're talking like potentially 90 million in amortization with FFP. And that could be massive for the football club, couldn't it?
Well, I keep hearing that Newcastle, Craig Hope put it out that they needed, Ashworth's role was to sell a player in the summer. Who told you that, right? You probably heard it from somebody who sweeps the floor at St. James's Park, right?
Yeah.
But do you know what it is? It's like, this is what people aren't getting, is if you, I'm not going to include Bruno in this, right? But just say Isak, for example, right? If we had a £70 million bid for Isak tomorrow, and just say we accepted it, which we won't, but I'm just saying we did.
Yeah.
Then we bought Isak for £60 million. You're not making much from FFP. This is why Cole Palmer, Gallagher, youth players are leaving their football clubs because there's 100% FFP from a transfer because they were bred from the youth system. And that's why people are selling their youth players, right?
Well, that was the other thing I was going to mention quickly, was that one of the reasons why we want to get the under-23s and under-21s firing and getting young players through with talent is not always to get them through to the first team. It's also to make a profit on them. I know that sounds horrible, seeing them as a product, but that's technically what Chelsea do, Man City do. That's how they turn over so much money in the summer and are able to buy bigger players, because they'll sell 5 youth team players, 15, 20 million a pop. They've made 100 million.
Well, this is what I said to somebody the other day, that if we basically sell, just see Ashworth goes 20 million, Miggy goes in the summer 20 million, Trippier goes 15 million, just for example, before you know it, you've already got £60 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I know Trippier costs so much, so there's a percentage and all that, but it's like, you're getting to the stage, I don't think Newcastle are intending on selling a player that people think they're going to sell. I think the players who were involved in this Adidas commercial stuff are going nowhere. That's why they're involved in it. I.e., Bruno's just posted the day saying, it looks like he's involved in it, and Miley was involved in it, Joe Linton, Gordon. That thing.
I love the adverts. They're great.
I don't think they're involved in this. Did you notice Kieran Trippier wasn't on the Adidas thing, though?
No, but Joe Linton was, Isak, Miley. I haven't seen a Bruno one yet, but I'm sure he will.
No, apparently Bruno's put something on Instagram about Adidas or something. I think he's going to be the face. And Botman, they've signed Botman up there.
Yeah, Botman has signed him recently.
And it seems to be like the players that we are going to sell in the summer. We're going to sell one of them. And
we won't do that if Adidas are getting them signed up, and it just doesn't.
Exactly. It won't happen. But the thing is, I keep saying that Newcastle are going to sell a player in the summer. Yeah, but Liverpool are probably going to sell Salah. But why is it a major problem if we sell somebody, but Liverpool sell Salah? It's like this happens in football. This is what happens. Is Haaland going to be at Man City in 2 years' time? I don't know. Possibly not. Now, are Man City going to fall because they've sold him? No. De Bruyne is the same. It's going to go eventually. But when we sell a star name, the football club's going to implode, and it's like there's some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Like the media jump on it, like Newcastle are in trouble and stuff because they've got to sell a player. But when Chelsea sell a player, it's business because they have to.
Yeah. And let's jump on this one very quickly because we're running out of time. Man United balancing the books too. That's why they couldn't even make a cheap loan deal last summer.
Yeah.
They don't have bags of cash you think they have. The problem is Casemiro. Who's that centre back who's just got injured again? Martinez. All of them will be sold to Saudi Arabia and be sold for big money. And that's where Man United balance the books very easily, because they've got sellable assets. Now, we've got sellable assets, but like you mentioned, we don't want to get rid of them. Man United are willing to get rid of those sellable assets. And then that balances their books really quickly, and everything gets sorted. And they can go out and start buying big players again. There's a few more in the chat. Also, the big sponsors next year, and hopefully some more, including training wear, ground expand. Exactly, we've still got a training kit sponsor, training sponsor for the actual stand at the training ground. We've also got the stadium naming rights potentially still. You've got the stack which is going to start to be built. There's so much more money going to be coming in. Bruno did an interview with Retro Adidas kit on. I've seen him in the gym with it, which was brilliant. Might depend if the players have to deal with another sports company too, potentially. Selling top players is how top clubs stay at the top. They do, but they sell them at the right time. Like Alex Ferguson used to do when he sold Andy Cole, when he sold Van Nistelrooy. He sells them at the right time and still brings in big money.
So look, this is the problem we have, is we need to sell this summer Miggy, Wilson. We need to sell them. They're not massive value, right? But they've got value, right? Now, it's not Man United value, Man City value, but it's still value. And this is what we've got to do. We've got to get rid of them. They've got to go. And what we need to do is we need to bring in, we need to be clever and see if we can get another Nick Pope type of deal, where we're bringing in a top player who's not going to cost an absolute fortune. And crazy. Brighton are absolutely brilliant at it, where they just go out and buy the player for £10 million and just turn them into £80 million players. Now, that's what we need to do. And yeah, you can't do it for every player, but I'm sure Newcastle have bought somebody in the last 2 years of the project that for little money that at some point in the next 3 or 4 years could be worth a lot of money. And I'm sure I've done it. I'm sure there's somebody there. But that's 100% right. The big clubs sell. They sell players. And that's how they keep going. Tottenham, Harry Kane. Right? Simple as that. They would have paid a fortune off Harry Kane because I think he comes from the youth system. Declan Rice at West Ham from the youth system. Pure profit. It's 100% profit. Now, the players who we have 100% profit on are Lewis Miley, Elliot Anderson and Sean Longstaff. The other 100% player profit. Now, how much would them three go for? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's not going to be a huge amount at the minute. Miley in a few years' time could be a lot of money. Now,
but we don't want to sell Miley because he's going to save us 80 million potentially because he is that good.
Yeah, well, that's it. But because I've got the game on. Because of FFP, this is the crap you have to do.
Yeah. But this is what we're trying to avoid, though, and this is why I think if we agree a deal with Man United to sell Ashworth to them for more than his release clause, it will take the pressure of having to sell a big star. You could then see maybe Longstaff leaving. But again, then you lose the homegrown side of play, but he'd be pure profit. So imagine selling Ashworth and Sean Longstaff for, say, I mean, a lot of people say we won't get a lot of money for Sean Longstaff. He's 27 now. His game has developed a little bit, but it's not as good as what he looked like under Rafa, potentially. I still think we can get 30 million for him. So you could potentially get 55 to 60 million out of Ashworth and Sean Longstaff. Could you imagine that? That's huge money.
Yeah, no, it's easy. It's easily done when you do it properly. And look, somebody's still got to come out and buy these players. But if you put Sean Longstaff on the market, somebody will buy. Premier League team would buy. And it's safe, but you've got to be clever. And this is why Newcastle were clever during the Calvin Phillips deal, why they didn't pay a £7 million loan fee for the guy. Because you were paying £7 million for a 6-month loan. That's why they didn't do it. And West Ham have found out that I've watched him a few times that he's struggling. And he's struggling because he's probably not match sharp. And you've just got to be clever, man. You've got to be so clever in the transfer market. And I think Staveley said it, where she said you can't make a mistake. No. You've got, if because of FFP, you've got
well, we've made a mistake in Tonali in a way, haven't we, this season? And it's shown what happens when you make a mistake. Even though it won't be a mistake in the long run, but it was a mistake this season because we've lost him for a season.
That's what pisses me off about Man United. They can make a mistake by signing Anthony for £80 million. Yeah, they can do that, but it's fine. They'll just replace him with somebody else. And this is why teams are starting to cotton onto it now, is that, well, right, they've made a massive mistake, but they just replace that mistake by spending another £70 million. Where's the fairness in that? and people are starting to cotton onto it, and it's what's like I said, it's bloody nonsense. Before I bore myself with FFP, I really do, and honestly I can't even stand it. And it's not just because we've had a takeover. I've started to realise FFP since we've started to compete how bad it is.
That's huge. I didn't know that about Paqueta taking the FA to court as allegations against reply betting are false. That's cost him his Man City move in the summer as well, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically. I'll tell you what, I heard an interesting one the other day.
Go on.
No, it's going off something here, but apparently in January, somebody put a £50 million bid in for Jared Bowen, an unnamed Premier League team.
I reckon that was us.
So do I.
I would love Jared Bowen.
Now, who reported that? Somebody reported it and saying that it definitely happened, but they don't know who the Premier League team was. Now, that tells me, I think it was us. It screams of us. And I thought, you know what it is? That means we had £50 million to spend in January.
Mm-hmm.
If they've put that bid in. So that suddenly goes to the summer budget.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And there was no January signing, so that goes automatically to the summer budget as well.
Exactly.
The problem is they ship off to Saudi for big cash, no questions asked. But if we sell to the Saudi League under a microscope, still think we lost out on Maxi. I absolutely agree with you too, and I really do. It's actually pissing me off that we can't deal with the Saudi League as easily as other Premier League clubs. But there's 4 teams in the Saudi League that we can't deal with like other Premier League clubs. If other Saudi teams came in, they're not owned by PIF. So it should just be whatever we want to do. But there we go. Anyway, right, we've got to end the show there because we've been over an hour. What are you going to say very quickly?
It was just a quick one. It was a funny one. I saw a Man City fan saying, you know how they were doing the sponsorship nonsense where you can't have this and they've reduced this again and all that. I heard a Man City fan come out and he went like this. He says, look, get in touch with Newcastle, right? He says, get the Saudis to sponsor us. We'll get our owners to sponsor them.
Yes.
No, you do.
Can you not remember when we first got took over and I had that stupid idea and I said, why don't we just do a competition between three Saudi clubs in Newcastle? We go over there, we play in a tournament and the winner gets 100 million.
Yeah.
And we fix it so Newcastle win. Well, we should beat them anyway, shouldn't we?
Etihad sponsor us.
First came over. Yeah.
Etihad sponsor us, the Saudi sponsor Man City.
Or
and then you go.
you have like a massive game between Newcastle and Man City in Saudi Arabia. The winner gets 150 million and second place gets 140 million.
Yeah, no, there's
there's nothing from doing that. They can't stop you from doing it.
No, there's nothing. It's class, isn't it?
I love it. And that's been an idea I've had for ages, but there we go. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Please hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed the show. Hit the thumbs up. It massively helps. We're not asking people to pay money. We just want you to hit the thumbs up and subscribe because it helps. Diacro, absolutely amazing sponsor. Everyone gets 20% off. And also, if you are a member, you get a chance to win $40 to spend on their website. The link is below. Please check them out. Football prizes, they give away £100 credit to their site. Their site is amazing. The raffles they do are unbelievable. I've got a couple of tickets into this one because it's a Gaza signed shirt. I haven't won anything yet from any of them, but other people who watch the channel have. So I promise you, it's a great little company. And the prizes are amazing. You can win up to 19 prizes when you enter this raffle. There's only 399 tickets, and hopefully you'll get a lucky one if you buy one. I am trying to do a big one for charity myself. This is out of my own pocket. All these shirts have been signed by Keegan, Beardsley, Waddle, Shea Given, Bobby Robson, Shearer, Nobby, Gary Speed. A full signed shirt there on the left as well. The Booby Prize of Stephen Taylor. I'm getting more stuff delivered. But I'm relying on people who donate stuff to get signed. I'm going to try and get a trip to the training ground and try and get as much signed as I can. And we want to raise a lot of money. And I'm going to approach a certain ex-player and say, how much do I need to raise to get you on my channel for one show only? So keep an eye out. I'm going to try my best and we'll see how it goes. And then hopefully this as well from Diacro. I'll be wearing this tomorrow night for the first time. Hopefully we'll be able to sell this in the future, but all the money will be going to Diacro. We don't want anything. We just want Diacro to be a very good company and sell our merchandise and them get the money as well. And it's in support of Lindsay, Liam, and Fez, of course, as well, because we want all three of them back at St James's Park. Whew. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. No, there's no watch along on Saturday because I've actually got a life this Saturday. I'm going out for a few drinks. Play a bit of darts, a bit of pool, but I will be live tomorrow night at 8:15, 8:30. I don't know if Gary, if you're free for that. Might be asked 2 nights in a row.
Am I free? Don't know because the wife's off, but I'll let you know.
Let us know. But Ian will definitely be free. I was hoping to get a Bournemouth fan on, but he's unfortunately not doing podcasts at the moment. But tune in tomorrow night about 8:15, 8:30, and we'll be talking about the game on Saturday. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care till next time.